In today's video, we're showing you 8 of the most bizarre-looking prehistoric creatures to have roamed the Earth. These now extinct animals have features that make them look funny, disturbing, or downright terrifying in some cases. However, what's interesting is that some of them resemble or are related to species that still exist today. I've also noticed that most of you watching this aren't subscribed yet, so if you do like the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's absolutely free and you can always change your mind later. And with that said, enjoy the video. Number 8. PLATYBELODON. Many ancient mammals have physical similarities to their modern-day counterparts. 15 million years ago, there was PLATYBELODON, an ancestor of the modern elephant known for its shovel-shaped lower jaw. This herbivore lived in herds and preferred flooded plains, lake beds, and wet prairies as its habitat. It ate soft plants, including those growing underwater. Its flat-bottomed jaw juts out in an underbite with 2 sharpened scissors at the end. The PLATYBELODON uses this elaborate jaw system much like a Swiss Army knife. It can shovel, dig, and dredge through soft vegetation in swampy environments. It can also use its lower tusks to strip bark from trees. It also used its sharpened scissors to grab at branches and cut leaves like a saw or a scythe. The tusks were also used as defense against predators. Paleontologists are lucky to have found many well-preserved examples of this interesting appendage. It's primarily composed of flesh and organic matter, and normally does not fossilize as easily as bone. Luckier still, the PLATYBELODON fossils were still found in herd-like groups next to rivers, prime conditions for fossilization. Number 7. INCISIVOSAURUS. This might not be the most popular dino out there, but INCISIVOSAURUS has a reputation for being among the most bizarre. It's got an overbite, which prominently features a pair of large rodent-like front teeth. While most mammals have several types of teeth in their mouths, reptiles generally have only one kind. INCISIVOSAURUS, however, is an exception to the rule, and in addition to their twin incisors, the back of its mouth contained rows of peg-like teeth, frequently with a heavy amount of wear. This suggests that the dinosaur is an herbivore or an omnivore, despite being descended from and looking like a carnivorous predator. The large incisors are not used for tearing flesh, rather they're used to break seeds and gnaw on tough grains, much like modern birds or even rodents. They're also a social species, preferring to live and travel in herds, which also protects them from other meat-eating dinosaurs. Number 6. HELICOPRION. Helicoprions are a species of extinct shark-like fish. They roamed the seas around the Americas, Europe, and Australasia during the Permian era 290 million years ago. They're known for their spiral cluster of teeth comprising their lower jaw called a tooth whorls. The first discovered fossil of this creature was a 15-tooth fragment of this whorl. Due to the intricate spiral pattern, they were initially thought to be ammonoids, a species of spiral-shelled mollusks. Similar to sharks, Helicoprion and other members of its order have skeletons made of cartilage instead of bone. This makes it near impossible to find fully preserved Helicoprion fossils. In fact, aside from plenty of tooth whorl fossils, no other parts of the jaw or the rest of the fish have been found. The Helicoprion's most prominent feature implies that it was carnivorous. Its individual teeth are serrated and can reach up to 180 teeth. Larger, newer teeth grow on the outside of the spiral, with the old ones being pushed in. Comparisons with other members of its order suggest that they may have grown 10 to 15 feet long. The final appearance of the Helicoprion still remains a mystery, though. What we do know about this fish has changed many times over the past few decades, and it's probably going to continue to do so in the future, especially with its bizarre appearance. Number 5. ANOMALOCARIS. Before killer whales and great white sharks, and 300 million years before the Tyrannosaurus rex ruled the Earth, a freakish-looking animal called the ANOMALOCARIS was the sole apex predator. It lorded over the Cambrian period more than a half-billion years ago, in a world that was mostly underwater. Its name means abnormal shrimp, and this species was first identified and named in 1892 only due to its resemblance to the modern crustacean. Succeeding discoveries of incomplete fossils only further confused paleontologists of what species it was, or what it truly looked like. Finally, though, in 1985, the most complete fossil was discovered, and the true anatomy of this accomplished predator was made known to the world. ANOMALOCARIS was the biggest creature that ruled the Cambrian seas. It was about a meter long and hunted down prey using its flexible side lobes and strong, fan-shaped tail like a propeller. It grabbed at its victim with large, spiky arms before biting into them with its disc-like mouth containing serrated teeth. It also had large, complex eyes which could see very sharp images in very dim light. These were located on top of rotating stalks, giving the creatures a close to 360-degree vision. Its name again literally means abnormal shrimp, due to the hodgepodge situation of its body parts, but if you ask us, prototype killing machine sounds like a much better nickname. Number 4. THERIZINOSAURUS. THERIZINOSAURUS was a strange and mysterious-looking dinosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 77 million years ago to be exact. Its incomplete fossils were discovered many years apart, and its true appearance eluded scientists for decades. The first remains of this dinosaur were found in 1948 in Mongolia. Only a few bones, including part of a claw, were recovered, which initially led paleontologists to believe that these belonged to an ancient turtle. By 1970, several other fossils were found, leading to its classification as a dinosaur. More fossils over the years have slowly shed light on the lizard's strange physical appearance. Researchers now have a better picture of its physical characteristics, even if some do remain a mystery. It grew to a large size, reaching up to 10 meters long and weighing over 5,000 kilos. It also had a small skull atop its long neck and a bird-like beak, small bipedal legs, and a large protruding belly that helped with plant matter digestion. Perhaps its most prominent feature were its long arms with enormous claws, some up to 1 meter long. These weren't meant for hunting, but were effective at stripping leaves from trees. This paints the rather likely scenario that THERIZINOSAURUS was actually an herbivore. Since they sit around a lot and can't run, the claws also act as self-defense from predators. Number 3. EURYPTERID. Eurypterids are ancient arthropods that lived in the Paleozoic era about 460 million years ago. They're colloquially known as sea scorpions, because of the scorpion-like tail found on many species. Most of these arthropods inhabited shallow, fresh, and brackish water habitats, though some may have been able to swim the open ocean or even walk on land. They possess segmented bodies and jointed appendages covered in a shell-like material composed of proteins and chitin. The head was covered by a carapace, which contained 2 compound eyes, and the ocelli, which were eye-like sensory organs. They had pincer-like appendages, legs, and a tail resembling a scorpion sticker. Eurypterids came in different sizes, depending on their lifestyle or habitat, really. The smallest fossil was around 2 centimeters, while larger species have been found to exceed 7 feet. There are no preserved samples of their gut or what was in them, so very little is known about their eating habits. Their biology suggests, though, that they were opportunistic feeders, preying on or scavenging on smaller creatures, including their own species. Eurypterids are very hardy and versatile creatures, with some species able to breathe on land. Their external structure also preserves amazingly well, which is why the many examples of their fossils are among the most detailed to ever be found. Number 2. Longusquama. Longusquama was a controversial little creature that lived during the Middle Triassic period 230 million years ago. Its most curious feature was a twin row of tall appendages extending from its back. Due to its incomplete and poorly preserved fossils, much of the information about this animal remains speculative. Roughly translating to long scales, this reptile was named after its interesting spinal formation. This includes a set of hockey stick-like appendages stuck out of the animal's back. These appendages were visually similar to a feather, with a vein down the middle attached deep within the animal's body. They're made of skin instead of bones, and scales more common to reptiles. Scientists speculate that these plumes may have been primitive feathers, or at least contained the genetic recipe for them. Even the plume's positions remain a subject of much paleontological debate. Some believe these to be jutting upward, with no practical use other than a display feature meant for mating or as a scare device. Others believe that the plumes extend outward on both sides of the creature, which help it glide from tree to tree. There is little known about the creature's behavior and diet, however it was known to have lived in Marichen, a deeply forested environment surrounded by large lakes and deep mud, which is now modern-day Kyrgyzstan. This primitive reptile's place in the reptilian kingdom is also unclear, with researchers calling this misunderstood creature anything from a tuator ancestor to a pre-dinosaur to the missing link between dinosaurs and birds. Number 1. PTERODAUSTRO. The Pterodaustro was a genus of pterosaur that lorded over the skies during the early Cretaceous period, about 105 million years ago. Its most unique characteristic is its bristle-like tooth comb, allowing it to filter feed like modern-day flamingos. This flying reptile has a very long skull, with fossils found measuring up to 11 inches long. Its snout and lower jaws curve aggressively upwards. In addition to the small teeth found in its upper jaw, Pterodaustro also has around 1,000 bristle-like teeth in its lower jaws that may have been used to strain water creatures such as crustaceans, small mollusks, algae, and plankton. It also had a very long torso and curiously strong hind legs, which make it a good swimmer. Like modern-day flamingos, this diet lends a pink shade to their feathers or their skin. Studies also indicate a nocturnal lifestyle, possibly to avoid feeding competition with other creatures, or to avoid day predators that may easily spot a pink pterosaur. Due to their fragile bones and preferred habitat, pterosaur fossils are relatively rare, and commonly in poor and incomplete condition. However, the PTERODAUSTRO seems to be the overachieving genus of its species, with over 750 unique fossils on record. The most intriguing one was an intact embryo, fossilized right before hatching. Studies on the juvenile show that it already had fully developed limb bones prior to hatching. This suggests that it could stand, walk, and perhaps even fly right out of the egg. And that's our list for today, folks. Thank you very much for sticking with me to the end. Like the video if you do and leave a comment, and also make sure to check out the channel's other amazing content. As always, thank you all for watching.